Welcome to our monthly West Hartford real estate market update. We take a look at the numbers each month to see if there are any trends, any shifts, anything that active buyers or sellers should have on their mind for strategy planning purposes each month. And as we are here at the end of June 30th, 2026, we've hit the halfway mark for the year, as crazy as that sounds. And you know, doing these videos each month has really started to paint a picture for us. And I'm going to get into the numbers in a minute. But if one thing's for sure, it doesn't matter what the interest rates have been. It doesn't matter that there's a reassessment coming. It doesn't matter that there's construction all over the center and it's displacing traffic and making it tough on businesses and people walking through. Despite all those factors, all those things that have gone on in the past year or so and that are coming up towards the end of the year, the numbers have been eerily consistent from month to month. We have not seen big shifts, and the numbers are going to lead or lend themselves towards that as we get into them here this month too. So as we get in, if you have any questions, don't be shy. We get calls, texts, and emails all the time from people watching these videos. Please reach out. And one of my favorite things about the channel is local residents, people coming through, drop their comments, drop their thoughts. I do live here in town. I'm a local realtor here in town. But I certainly, my thoughts are just one piece. I'm trying to give you the real estate perspective that's based off real numbers. So I love it when people from town or people that have spent time in the town drop comments and thoughts and add to these videos. Keep those coming. I think it's terrific. So first metric we're going to look at here that we always get into first is active inventory. So last month at the end of May, we were at 32 homes for sale. It's been very, very static in that low 30s, high 20s. Right now, we've hit a little uptick. We're at 38, so it's slightly higher. I will say this: about a week or so ago, as I doing my daily numbers, we did get up into the 40s, high 40s. So we've seen it start to climb, and then those buyers just keep bringing it right back down. So despite some attempts to climb, as of today, we are still in the high 30s. That has been very consistent. If you go back, throughout the years and watch these videos, you'll see we are traditionally in that range. Next metric I want to look at is closed sales. Now we started to see that spring jump. Last month there was 53 closed sales. We bumped up again in June. There were 66 closed sales in June. So again, we've seen some big growth with buyers. The lower inventory has not slowed the amount of sales we've had. And what's interesting is I know a lot of people were concerned, I mentioned in the beginning of the video, with all the construction, the rates climbing back up to the higher sixes, it has not slowed down the buyers in West Hartford, Connecticut. Those factors, if we're looking month over month, if anything, have increased, have had no significance at all on the number of buyers in the marketplace. And it's really interesting because when I sit down with sellers, so many times they want to know, is the interest rates going to affect my home sale? Is the construction going to affect my home? They're really concerned about some of these things. Should I remodel my kitchen, my bed? These numbers, paint the picture. There's so much emotion in real estate, and what I love about the numbers, I love studying the analytics, is it allows us to take the emotion out and see what's really happening. So, worrying about the rates or what's going on in the world is far less important than how many homes are active, how many homes are selling each month. If we look at those two numbers, it tells us everything we need to know about pricing and timing the listing of a property for sale. So 66 has been a big uptick for closed sales. Median sales price. Now, this is by far our most volatile statistic. And again, this just goes to show, don't get too caught up in major headlines of median sales price does this, median prices are up 20%, 30%. Like those numbers, they create emotion, and they don't always allow us to make a sound decision. And I'm going to explain why here in a second. Today, as end of June, median sales price, we're looking at single family homes with all these stats, is $587,500. Last month, it was $620,000. So we've actually had more sales this month by 13. And the median sales price went down. That the market has not cooled by any stretch of the imagination. We have more buyers per active inventory in the marketplace, yet the price came down, right? 1 month to 1 month, these metrics give us an idea, but whenever we're looking at a small sample size, 66 sales, 53 sales, some of those winter months we were looking at 40 sales, right? Those numbers get skewed, right? It's no reason to panic because the median sales price, dropped, 30 something $1,000 in a month when there was only 60 sales, right? If there's 1,000 sales, 2,000 sales, now that's a really good sample size. Then it's harder to move metrics. But of course, these numbers are going to be volatile, especially in a town like West Hartford. I always say it's one of the coolest things about the town, but in this particular metric, it creates vulnerability in the statistic. There's something for all different types of home buyers. We have entry-level homes for $300,000. We also have high-end luxury homes well up into the millions, over $1.5 million, right? Sometimes over $2 million. There was a $2 million sale in the past couple months, or 2.4. So these numbers can be heavily skewed by some of the bigger sales or some of the smaller sales on that particular month. When all that's happening is homes in that area of town, based on that square footage, are selling at the price they're supposed to, but for that month, when the numbers get compiled, it skews it a little, right? So these fluctuations are normal. We've seen it as low as 510. We've seen it as high as 650. This median number will bounce around. Focus more on the active versus sold, and then some of these other metrics we're going to get into, like days on market and list to sell price ratio. That's a perfect lead into days on market. Last month we were at 5. This month we're still at 5. Under a week. If the home's priced right, you have good professional marketing, a good plan, it's going to go in that first week. If it doesn't, something's wrong. It's a red flag. List to sales price ratio. Last month it was at 111%. This month we're right at 109%. Again, all these metrics are all very strong in terms of list to sell price ratio. The seller having a lot of leverage in a market where buyers don't have a lot of choices. This has been the past 4 or 5 years here in town. So very consistent. I don't see anything drastically that's going to change that for the next month. Obviously, I'm going to monitor it, keep up with our weekly videos so you can be updated until we get to our next month's video. I want to bring you property tours. I want to bring you things that we're seeing in the marketplace as realtors, so that if you are thinking about buying or selling, even if it's a little bit down the road, you can start to get a little pulse on the market, start to formulate questions and get ideas, so when the time is right, you'll be an informed consumer. If you need me, I'm here. Don't be shy. Make it a great week.